covered quite a few Resident Evil knockoffs on this channel. They're kind of like their own genre of game, and I honestly love them. They're so much fun for all the wrong reasons. We're going to be discussing another cheesy Resident Evil knockoff today called Deep Fear. But what makes this one stand out from all the rest? It takes place underwater. Deep Fear gives us the usual virus turning people into monsters plotline and puts it thousands of miles under the sea. So you may be thinking, oh, cool, do you get to fight creepy sea monsters, or maybe the final boss is a mutated octopus? No, none of that. No sea monsters at all, actually. In fact, the main bad guy is a monkey. Yeah, this game is pretty weird. But that is why I love it, and also why I have to tell all of you about it. So get ready to learn all about the underwater Resident Evil starring John Mayer, no, not that one, this one, a monkey, and this guy.
Oh, they're full of it, those Navy muscle heads, shutting me out and starting this mess.
Air unit area roundup battle.
Oh, it's dangerous to fight there. Oh.
But first, the disclaimer. Please do not take this video as a serious review. I just like to talk about games that I find silly. This video is going to be a retelling of the story while I attempt to be funny along the way. I do not focus on the gameplay in these videos, but instead the story, as that is what I find most interesting. So if you're looking for someone to talk about the gameplay, this is not the video for you. Also, do not take this video as me hating on this game. I genuinely love these old goofy games, okay? Alright, disclaimer over. Let's discuss Deep Fear. The game begins with a space capsule crashing into the ocean. A submarine picks it up and takes it to the underwater research base called the Big Table. Now, as someone who knows nothing about the Navy, submarines, or underwater research bases, the Big Table really confused me. So if you're like me, in simple terms, I've come to understand that it's a bunch of submarines and bases that all work together underwater, and they can use submarines to travel between them. And this has been the Big Table for idiots, like me. So as I mentioned earlier, our main character is John Mayer. He's a new member of the Emergency Rescue Service on the Big Table. John has a cold. That'll be relevant later, I promise. John is thinking about his dead wife, who he lost at sea, Stella, when he gets a call from another member, Mookie, that their coworker is drowning. John rushes to the scene and...
What's going on?
April Fools!
Ah, yes, hilarious. There's nothing funnier than tricking someone into thinking their coworker drowned, especially when the person you're tricking lost their wife to drowning. Anyway, this is Mookie, a submersible pilot. He's one of those iconic goofy horror game side characters.
Big hitter Mookie is safe at home.
Mookie, we have to go again.
What?
This is Sharon, and her voice actor makes her sound like she's way too young to be working at an underwater research base.
That was his emergency call. I wonder what happened.
Then John gets a real emergency call from the base's commander, Clancy, and a submarine designer, Dubois.
Oh, there's no problem with my CFOX system. No accident should have occurred. Oh!
I'm kind of obsessed with this guy. So one of the submarines crashed into the Navy area, and Clancy wants John and Mookie to head over there to rescue any survivors, but mostly a researcher named Gina. However, when they get there, they're met with a horrifying sight. John comes across several more mutated people, but he does find Gina alive and well. Gina also has a monkey named Anthony, which doesn't faze John in the slightest. What does bother John is that Gina looks eerily similar to his dead wife, Stella. I thought there was going to be some kind of big reveal with this, like Gina was a relative of Stella's, or she's somehow a mutated clone of her. But nope. Gina just happens to look like Stella, and that is that. There is no reason for it. It is not important. They take Gina back and run into another Big Table employee, Danny, who also isn't fazed by Anthony the monkey.
Whoa, your boyfriend? Just kidding.
John and Mookie are now sent straight back to the submarine they came from because some idiot decided to use their dying breath to start launching missiles. God, I hate when that happens. So they go fix the missile problem, and before taking the submersible back, they find this nameless survivor and take him with them. Uh-oh. A nameless survivor? John, listen to me. Whatever you do, do not stupidly leave Mookie alone on the submersible with the survivor so he doesn't mutate and kill him. No, John, what did I tell you? I'll be honest, this game really feels like it's missing something without Mookie. He's a character that genuinely brought life to this game, and I'm not even joking when I say that.
Okay, Mookie, let's slide on into home.
I will miss you, Mookie. So now people all over the big table start becoming infected with this strange virus that turns them into monsters. John meets with Gina, and she's curious as to why John is okay, despite the fact that he's faced countless monsters. She discovers that John's cold is fending off the virus and acting as a short-term cure. So this is the one time in your life that a cold is actually useful. Also, literally last night, I had a dream that I was on a ship and I didn't have a cold, and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna die if everyone starts turning into monsters. This game has infected my dreams. Leave me alone, John Mayer. Then John meets another employee, Anna, and her dog Rambo. She's a tough girl, and honestly, that's all you really need to know about her. She's not that important. The Navy has arrived at the big table, and their commander is this guy named McCoy. His presence really bothers John. He tells Gina the reason he's so upset about McCoy being there is because he's his dead wife Stella's brother, and he can't face him after failing to save her from drowning.
I couldn't handle the guilt, and I left the team.
Oh,
Even if I want to forget, I can't.
it'll take time. As time passes, you'll come to understand each other, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure this scene would have been a lot more emotional with better voice acting. Anyway, now it's time to play a game. Choose your fighter, the US Navy or a mutant rat. If you picked the rat, you won, because it took out the entire Navy. Huh. They really did not last long, did they? Clancy vents to John that his life is nothing but bad luck. You see, he's actually on the big table as punishment. A few years ago, he accidentally shot a missile at a passenger ship, killing everyone on board. His punishment was to stay undersea, commanding the big table. I'm honestly not sure why he's complaining, because this is a slap on the wrist. He murdered a ship full of innocent people, and his punishment is to be in charge of an underwater research base. He killed people, and instead of going to jail, they gave him a job. Later, we learn from Danny, who was on the ship when Clancy fired the missile, that what he did was no accident. He shot down the ship on purpose to rise the ranks. Why did you think murdering a ship full of innocents was going to get you a promotion, Clancy? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Though, if you think about his punishment, maybe his plan did work. He just didn't get the promotion he was hoping for. So we've now reached the part of the game that I like to call Everyone John Knows Dies. I think you probably have a pretty good idea of what's going to happen based on that title. The first to go is Anna, who's been infected, and John has to take her down. Next up is McCoy, who John discovers mid-mutation. Before he's taken over, he tells John that he doesn't blame him for what happened to Stella.
My body is being taken over by a creature. I can't remember. This is called Iron Fist. I'm reaching my end. John, there's something I want to tell you.
What?
About Stella. At the time of the accident, you probably tried all you could to save her.
Yes.
These 3 years, I needed to talk to you, but if I did, I would blame myself for letting you and Stella go.
Again, I'm sure this would have been a very emotional scene with different voice acting. McCoy decides to end his life before the monster takes over. The next person to mutate is Dubois. No! I'm gonna miss his iconic line so much.
Oh, Mayor, I hurt my leg. I can't walk by myself. I have a favor to ask.
He tells John to leave him behind so that he doesn't hurt him, and gives him some unexpected final words.
Oh, John, you're a real man.
What? Unfortunately, Dubois' monster form ends up attacking John anyway, and he's forced to kill him. And the deaths are not done yet, people. Up next is Sharon, who's attacked by a monster.
Come on, Sharon. Let's go back to land together.
When you get back,
What?
would you have an ice cream with me?
Of course.
So Sharon was secretly in love with John, so her final words were actually her asking him out, but it just came across weird with the way she phrased that, paired with her voice once again making her sound like she's 12. Clancy tries to abandon everyone by leaving on a submersible, but he's attacked by a monster and dies. Yeah, I can't say I feel bad for you, Clancy. You kinda suck. Unfortunately, Clancy is not the last one to go on this death spree. It turns out that John actually didn't finish off Anna's mutant form, so she shows up and kills Danny. God, everyone is dead! The only characters aside from John left are Gina, Anthony, and Rambo. The group decides to escape on that space capsule that crashed into the ocean at the start of the game. If they self-destruct the base, the blast will send the capsule up to the surface. However, before they do this, John finds out some documents that reveal the truth about Anthony. It turns out that he had been living in space in the capsule for 40 years because it had gone missing and NASA couldn't find it. When it crashed into the ocean, he was still alive and in a state of hibernation. There's a bacteria inside him that mutated in space and is the reason he was able to live all that time. If this bacteria is used correctly, it could have the same effect on humans. However, right now, it just causes them to turn into horrible monsters. Gina and Clancy were working together on researching the bacteria to extend the length of time people could stay in space. However, Anthony decided to go rogue and start biting people and infecting them for fun, hence everyone turning into monsters. Obviously, John is like, we have to kill Anthony. If he makes it to the surface, he could spread the virus to all living creatures. But Gina has grown fond of Anthony and refuses to kill him. Instead, she defends him by turning into a green alien woman? Why? Everyone else infected by the virus turned into an ugly monster, but she gets to be a shiny green alien. I don't understand. Anyway, John takes her down and starts the self-destruct sequence. Anthony tries to infect John as a last-ditch effort, but Gina, the alien, seems to have had a change of heart because she clings to him and forces the two of them to die together. John blasts off to the surface, and oh my god, Rambo made it! I can't believe the only two survivors of this game are John and a random dog. And yeah, that does it for Deep Fear, the underwater Resident Evil with a cast full of very bizarre characters that all die horrible deaths. This game has no mercy on any of them. I'm honestly still upset that Mookie died so early. He was easily the most entertaining character.
Okay, Mookie, let's slide on into home.
Though, Dubois definitely gave him a run for his money.
You're a real man.
Anyway, I think one of my favorite things about this game is that the big bad guy of the underwater horror game was a monkey from space. Talk about opposite ends of the spectrum. What was your favorite goofy moment of this game? Let me know in the comments below. Also let me know if there are other games, movies, media, etc. that you want me to make a video on. I do actually take all of your suggestions into consideration. And yeah, that's going to do it for me today, guys. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe to see more content from me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!